Yeah, my goal by the end of the year is at least 100K subs. You add that, the agency together, or you add YouTube AdSense. Um, I don't know, a few million bucks this year would be the goal.
All right, brother. Well, thanks so much for coming on. Guys, if you don't know Grayson, I apologize. How do you say your last name?
It's Lupus. It's
Lupus.
Greek. It means wolf in Greek.
Well, that's okay. That's sick. That's pretty sick. That's awesome. Well, I got my friend Grayson Loupas on today, man, and like I said, we were talking before. Ran across his channel, super valuable content. All of his socials will be linked down below. But man, if you just want to go ahead and introduce yourself, and I'll kind of go into some questions I got for you. I think this is going to be a really valuable one.
For sure, dude. Well, I'm Grayson. I just recently started posting about kind of the SMMA stuff. I kind of transitioned from posting about all the stuff for my agency offer, which was, mainly short form content. Now I've kind of transitioned the agency to more of an ads agency. But yeah, I just started posting about the SMMA stuff, and people are starting to pick up on it. But yeah, man, I'm 20 years old. I'm living in Phoenix right now, but I kind of go all over the place. Miami, Washington, Texas. Cool. I kind of go wherever the remote life calls me to. So
definitely, yeah, cool, man. I've been wanting to do that for a while. I live in Atlanta, and I'm trying to travel, but got a girlfriend that lives here, and it's hard to. She's a kindergarten teacher, so it's hard to. She can't get out. But yeah, man. So 20 years old. Did you go to college?
I did. Yeah, I went to college for 2 years because I did my what's it called, like your associates in high school. So I did 2 years of college during high school, and then I only had 2 years left, so I finished just recently.
Nice. Where'd you go, if you don't mind sharing?
Grand Canyon. It's in Phoenix.
Yeah, it's like the purple one, right?
Yeah, it's the purple one.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say, because I'm a huge basketball fan, and I know that they've had a couple good teams in the past make it to the tournament, I feel like, but maybe that's the wrong one. But anyway, man,
yeah, I'm a basketball guy myself.
You are?
Yeah, I played basketball for a week in college at a small school in Washington, and I hated it. So I transferred to GCU to get away. But
nice, man. Yeah, awesome. Yeah. I played in high school and had an interest from a small like JUCO in North Carolina, and same kind of thing. It was like, I wasn't even going to play there. So if it's like I'm not going to play there, I'm not going to do anything like that.
Yeah, if I'm not going to the league, there's no reason.
Facts, yeah. Well, cool, man. Getting into SMMA, bro. I run across influencers and people that kind of do the same content that we do, and sharing as much valuable content as possible. How did you get into it? I feel like a lot of people kind of hear it from word of mouth, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, but I feel like in the past couple of years it's definitely boomed, and I always like to get an insight off of where other people start.
Yeah, so I did an internship my second year of college at a small real estate firm because I thought I wanted to go into real estate. I wanted to start investing in real estate kind of right out of high school was my goal. I heard all of the no and low money down stuff, and I was like, I'm in. So I started trying to raise money for real estate, trying to find deals, but that was a little kind of unsuccessful. So I decided to intern for a company that was already doing it. And the owner of that company said, sure, you can come intern for us. We kind of suck at social media, though. Do you want to take that over, and you can do the social media, and in return, I'll kind of teach you the real estate stuff. And so I said, sure. And so I started taking over all their short form content, all their YouTube content, all their Google ads, a lot of their website stuff, building their funnels and stuff. So I started doing all of that, and I had no experience with it at all. But I just kind of like YouTubed it, figured it out. And after like 6 months of working there it was basically a 9-to-5, but an internship, so I didn't really get paid that much. After 6 months of working there, I decided that I wanted to start my own thing, but I had no idea what I wanted to do. And the owner of the company was like, you should go start an agency. Like, do what you did for us, but do it for a bunch of people. And I was like, dude, what the heck is an agency? Like, I had no idea what the word agency even meant. And this was like a year ago. I didn't know what the word agency meant. And so I was like, okay. So I started looking up agency. And so, of course, I come across all the gurus stuff, Emon and Ty Lopez and who else? Like Joel Kaplan, like all these guys I started coming across.
Yep.
And just started watching their videos. I took a couple other courses and started my agency back in, I think, May. So almost a year ago. And yeah.
Cool, dude. Yeah. That's awesome. I think you touched on it a little bit, but what are some main services that your agency is offering at the moment?
Yeah, so right now we still do a lot of organic content. So we have like a team of 5 editors, and so we'll still edit short form content, stuff like that for online coaches and agency owners. We work with kind of like a lot higher ticket clients. I know a lot of people struggle to get people to pay more than like a couple $1,000 a month for short form editing, but we only work with people that can really afford it, which is why we charge so much, which is the only reason that it's scalable. But I'm sort of moving away from that, more towards an ad agency now. We mostly work with real estate coaches. I didn't choose that niche. It just kind of happened over time. And so we do TikTok ads, we do IG ads, I kind of build funnels and stuff for them. But I also do rev shares with like 4 or 5 of them now. So that's why I do all the other stuff. But yeah.
Cool. What's been your biggest hurdle going into it? I know there's a lot of people that face the hurdle of not even landing a client, or doing outreach for so long and figuring out your offer sucks. What's something that you've had to face to overcome to get where you are today?
Yeah. I guess some of the biggest hurdles are mostly just kind of like bigger picture decisions. I feel like all the tactical information is pretty simple. It's all out there. You can figure it out. It's really just about like bigger picture. What is your offer going to be? What business model are you going to pick? Who are you going to work with? What are you going to charge? Stuff like that, I feel like makes a bigger impact than like all like am I actually, figuring out how to run these TikTok ads, or am I getting the copy right on this landing page? I feel like that stuff, is all you can figure it out from a YouTube video or search on the internet or just trial and error. Whereas the bigger picture stuff kind of probably impacts your income and your time spent than anything else. So,
yeah, definitely. I know that a lot of people struggle with, I think the whole landing the first client is a huge common hurdle, and it all stems around the offer. But like you said, like kind of learning from, and I actually heard this recently, but learning from one person as opposed to like multiple people in the YouTube space is actually probably more valuable. And while I love like, getting to share other people's opinions and things like that, I think that there's a ton of value in sticking to one person, seeing what this dude did right, and then following that exact person. Because like for me, when I started getting into SMMA and trying to, I also had a marketing background, so I understand like kind of the foundational type stuff. But when I started looking into like the actual agency structure, I had like 10 people, like you mentioned, like the big guys, but they all had like different opinions. And so I feel like kind of, having all that jumbled up is definitely not not an ideal kind of situation when you start out. So I commend you for kind of sticking to that. But what is, when you got your first client, what method did you use? I know that, like I said, a lot of people have their stuff that works, and I definitely have mine, but I've done my fair share of outreach methods for sure. But what's something, I guess, kind of a follow-up question. How'd you get your first client, and then how are you on a repeated basis getting clients to this day? Yeah.
So I essentially, you could call it just running ads is basically how I got my first client. That's what I like to call it, because I don't like to. So I basically just posted a bunch of TikTok videos and Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, and attracted people that way. And I basically just use those platforms as like I use as ad platforms, right? So I would just post like 6 videos, sometimes 10 videos a day, like 6 to 10 videos a day of just like free value and stuff on how to do short form content or how to whatever service I was offering. And I basically just like, instead of spending money on an ad and getting traffic that way, I would just post as many videos as I can and hope one of them took off. And that's kind of how I got my first few clients. And then I started getting referrals from those clients. And and then it just kind of started growing from there, and I continued to post content. That's kind of how we got that's how I got to my first 30K a month, was with just short form organic content.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I love that. That's kind of uncommon. Like, everybody that I've interviewed so far has who said like Upwork or Instagram DMs or LinkedIn, cold email, kind of the traditional type stuff. I like that you got it organically. That's super cool. I preach that too. I mean, and I'm sure you found this with your YouTube as well, but like just trying to create content for like whatever niche I'm in. For instance, like I've created a couple of e-commerce videos, and I have a couple of e-commerce brands. I work with some local brands as well, but like that's my main thing is e-commerce, and specifically the health and fitness e-commerce industry. And like I've made a couple of, how to do X, Y for your e-commerce store in terms of marketing, and it's brought in a couple of like inbound leads. And so a huge thing that I pitch on my YouTube is like, dude, while you're building your SMMA, build your personal brand, because you'll never know when somebody comes to your YouTube and is like, you know what, Will, the value providing is awesome. Like, let's just work together. And so same for you. I bet that stuff has worked out. So kind of cool that you started that like organically. That's awesome.
Yeah, I figured if that's a service I'm going to offer to my clients, I might as well do it myself and have the proof in the pudding and do it, Yeah.
Would you recommend that for people that are just starting out, or what would you recommend? Because I know like 2023, it's pretty saturated, right? I guess the whole social media management, not necessarily like agency stuff, but somebody trying to get into SMMA, what would what kind of piece of advice would you give them? One, for an offer, but two, for also, doing outreach and kind of what's relevant these days.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that there's really no such thing as a saturated offer. I feel like when I came into social media marketing, the most saturated offer out there, and this was only 9 months ago, was like Facebook ads for realtors. That's like what everybody starts with, I feel like. Some people obviously don't, but a lot of people start with Facebook ads for realtors, and then they pivot into something else. And you can 100% still be successful with that, because there's still realtors out there that maybe they got hit up by 10 of their agencies, but the way that you did it, they vibe with that. And so they were like, okay, I'm going to try it out. Right. So I honestly don't think that there's really such a thing as saturation. Maybe in like e-commerce with products and things like that. But in terms of like just, people like there's 100 other SMMA gurus out there making content, and I'm just another one now, I guess. But the reason that people like my content and the reason that people want to work with me is because they relate to me differently than they relate to other people. Maybe there's something about me that they like more than they like about Iman or about someone else, right? And so there's enough for everybody to go around. But in terms of like niches that people could start with or offers that people could start with, I actually just made a video on this that's going up today. But number one, I still think offering some sort of short form, whether it's paid or not, TikTok ads, IG ads, video ads in general, I still think is a great offer. Even just organic content is still a great offer. There's still people that aren't on social media that need to be on social media. And the second offer that in my video I just made was local service businesses, because I think it's so unsexy that not a lot of people do it. But like local roofing companies, power washing companies, cleaning companies, like all these people need marketing, local marketing, and no one really wants to do it because it's not very sexy. So those are like the two niches that I just made a video about. But
cool. Yeah, I like that. So straying away from social media marketing and I guess the agency life, and you maybe have touched on it a little bit earlier, but YouTube is fun, bro. Like when I started my agency and I was doing it full time and it was great, but then I started doing YouTube, and it's like you get good money from running and building an agency, and it is fulfilling, but it's also, in my opinion, just as fulfilling to make a YouTube video and then have somebody that like joins my Discord or newsletter or something and is like, hey, I did what you said in this video and I landed this smaller client. And while it's like something that's not a huge deal, like I just showed that person that it's possible. It's so fulfilling. What's something that made you want to get into doing more longer form content on YouTube, and how have you seen that growth so far, and how have you been able to grow to where you are?
Yeah, so my sort of like longer term plan is my agency kind of taught me all of the skills that I currently have, and I'm not saying I have like a crazy amount, but I have enough to do what I do. and it has taught me a lot of skills. It's made me some money, but it's ultimately a very, very difficult business model, but it's the best business model for beginners. And it is still a great business model for anybody, really. In my opinion, I just think there's other business models that are more scalable. And so that's why I started on YouTube, and that's why I started creating different kinds of content more geared towards people who are looking to start an agency or scale their agency, because I'm pivoting more towards coaching and kind of showing people how to do it, because I've been coaching for a couple months now, kind of on the side, before I decided to almost pivot entirely. And I get so much more fulfillment out of it, kind of just getting on coaching calls, and the people that I coach, everything I do and say for them, it makes such a bigger impact than my clients that I have, which are rich people just trying to get richer, and all they do is complain to me. So that's why I started creating YouTube content, and it's been fun. I started like 45 or 50 days ago on YouTube, and we've got like 2,500 subs. I'm almost monetized, almost there. But yeah, so that's why I started creating long form content to begin with. It's mostly for my coaching program, but also just because it's fun and people love it, and I think it's really helping people. So that's kind of why I did it.
Absolutely. I agree too, man. It's fun. I'm almost monetized too. I feel like it's kind of been a childhood goal ever since I was a kid. Like, I've seen these people make so much money on YouTube, and like, I'm not even at 2K yet. I'm almost there, but it's just fulfilling to see the growth, and people are actually like resonating with what you're saying. And like, while you and I maybe have like the smaller audience type stuff, I think that in the long term, providing value on a consistent basis really, really pays. And like you said, starting 45, 50 days ago, and you're almost monetized at 2,500 subs, like, that's crazy. So keep up the good work, man. Like I said, I ran through your videos, and it was just very impressive, the whole system behind that. With that being said, do you think the I guess SMMA space on YouTube is saturated? I know you said earlier you don't believe in saturation, but is there kind of a pathway, let's say that you get to 10, 15K and you're like, all right, this SMMA stuff is kind of maxing out. Do you see a different alleyway that SMMA, I guess for lack of a better term, gurus or influencers like you and I can go once we've, talked as much as we can about SMMA? And what do you think that is?
I mean, there's obviously a lot of other stuff we can talk about. I think for beginners, what they really need is a shift in the way that they think, and the way that they, the way that their mind is thinking, the way that they're, the things that they're doing on a daily basis. I think that's the things that really need to change. It's not really, you don't need another Facebook ads tutorial. You need to get off of YouTube, and you need someone to tell you, like, here's the daily activities you need to do and the habits you need to break in order to actually start a business, or even prepare yourself to start a business. So I think content like that in the future is something I'll make. Right now I'm just trying to grow the channel, and so I'm giving people what they want, which is like more tactical information. But long term, kind of like Iman's doing it right now. I think he just posted a video yesterday of like something about getting over breakups. I wouldn't necessarily, I wouldn't necessarily post the video like that, but something maybe similar in terms of just like how to optimize your life to be better. I'm a person that's kind of fulfilled by growth. If I'm not growing, I don't really feel great about myself. I can't really like kind of sit still. And so maybe just making videos about how to grow in general, not just with social media marketing, not just with business, but in life in general. So I feel like that's kind of like the way to pivot, just kind of self-development in general. Because eventually, like the SMMA content will be, I don't think I'm ever going to run out of ideas, but it'll probably get a little bit tiresome to keep creating the same videos. So
definitely. Yeah, there's only so many times we can repurpose it, right? I think that's, the popular model right now for people like Iman, people like Sebastian Georgiou, even Montel Gordon is going more into like, the personal brand, optimizing your life type thing. I think that's a good model. I think it's something good to shoot for, is like building yourself up by providing, actual tangible business asset value that somebody can take from your video and implement into their business, and then kind of going more towards, okay, now you have that value. What can you do on a daily basis that will optimize your life to like scale your business? And that's something that I think is just as valuable, if not more valuable. Different things like, this is when you should wake up. I know I feel weird about the whole like cold shower, wake up at 5 a.m. thing, because it's like for a lot of people it's not realistic. Like Jeff Bezos wakes up at 8 a.m. and takes a hot shower and doesn't work till 11 a.m. So it's like that kind of stuff is interesting to me. But I think just as long as you can differentiate yourself and, like you said, give somebody a reason to watch you rather than the big guys, then I think that's all you can do. And staying consistent is key, man. So keep at it. But for YouTube at the moment, your videos are super impressive. Like going through just the editing and the way that you capture somebody's attention. Do you have any systems in place? Do you have editors that you work with? Maybe like kind of a way that you go about, making a video. For me, I create like a small little outline. I kind of go off it. I don't go like word for word. But what's your system look like, and how do you kind of fit that into your busy schedule?
Yeah, so I have like my setup kind of like set up right now, and I don't really touch it. I don't touch this setup at all, because I like to sit down, I press one button, and everything's ready to go. And so that's like, it makes it super easy to just sit down. I have a creative director now, who is like my day one. Like him and I are just like, pretty much if all shit went, sorry, I don't know if I'm supposed to cuss, but if everything went and hit the fan, like he and I would be the only ones left in this together, because he's my dog. And he pretty much just does like all of my video ideas. He'll like go research all the trending topics right now, and then send them to me, and he'll send me the thumbnails for those and stuff. And then I'll just kind of look at the topics he sent, figure out which one I like to make, and I'll kind of like emulate it, but in my own way, and talk about my own experience, my own story with it, because I'll probably have some sort of different opinion on it. So that's kind of how I get the ideas. And then in terms of scripting, I'll usually I have like an outline. It's just, hook, intro, break it down into a framework, whether it's 2 ways, 3 ways, 4 steps, whatever, just so people can follow some sort of framework. I embed some hooks within there to just keep people interested to the end. And then, but it's really just me talking. Like I just sit down and I talk. I feel like that's the way it should be, because I think if you're a YouTuber, unless you're like some sort of research YouTuber like Graham Stephan, I'm a YouTuber that's like kind of just talking about my own personal experience and my own knowledge. Therefore, I shouldn't be really having to do much research before I make a video, because I should be just talking about what I already know. So that's kind of like how I make videos. Afterwards, I press stop recording and send it over to Chris, my creative director, and either he edits it or one of our YouTube editors in our agency edits it. It's usually Chris editing it, though, my creative director, and then he uploads it, and then we work on thumbnails for maybe like 10 minutes. He'll make like a mock thumbnail, and then I'll kind of just edit it a little bit and figure out what I like better about it. And that's pretty much it. I think we have a YouTube video going up in a few minutes. So
cool, awesome, dude. Yeah, I'm jealous. I'm envious. I don't have a creative director. I need one of those.
Yeah,
it's a cool process. I'm looking for. You probably see the same thing, but people reach out and do like, let me do your short form content. Let me edit your long form content. Yeah. I'm looking for somebody that get like 5 to 10 of those a day. And I'm like small, so I can only imagine how many the big guys get. But I'm looking for somebody like that too, and just to kind of automate things. I think I'm going to hold off till I'm monetized, because I think it makes more sense morally if I like put my YouTube money back into my YouTube and not necessarily like my personal income into my YouTube, and just trying to build it up. So that's cool, man. How are you going to build your personal brand? How are you looking to, you've already got 2.5K after 45, 50 days of posting. How are you looking to grow even more in 2023?
Yeah, my goal by the end of the year is at least 100K subs. I feel like it's definitely doable. That's kind of my goal. I feel like we can do a lot more than that, but I don't want to set my sights too high and then not reach and be upset with myself. So I feel like 100K is pretty doable. And I kind of I don't know, I want to share my story, and I want to share the experience that I've had and help people that, are having a similar experience, so they can skip some of the stuff that I went through. And I honestly just enjoy watching other people's content. like I still enjoy watching like beginner content. Like I watch Sebastian Georgiou's like beginner videos, and I watch Imran Gadji like how to start an agency. Like I already own an agency. I don't need to watch this video, but like it's still entertaining to me. And it's still kind of like, I don't know, it's motivating, and it's just like you get to basically be in the room with somebody who's doing something you want to do. So that's kind of why I create content, is because there's people out there who probably want to do what I want to do. And so, you know, they can kind of relate to me, they can learn from me. But yeah, 100K by the end of the year, I feel like is a good goal. And then long-term stuff, dude, I don't know. As long as I have the audience, though, I can pivot it kind of to whatever I want. But, you know, my sort of vision and my big bet for the next, like, 10 years is that my personal brand's probably going to be, like, the biggest thing. Like, the most important thing I will have ever done in my life is my personal brand, probably. So that's kind of my big bet. And I could be wrong 100%, but I think, I don't know, I'm taking the bet because I think I'm right, so.
Yeah, why not, bro? I mean, like I said, the kind of stuff that you're putting out, man, I wouldn't doubt it. My goal by the end of the year is 10K. So you have a little loftier goal than I do, but I think, you know, I'm still trying to work on that quality and stuff. But 100K, man, I completely doable. And like I said, the value that you're providing is unmatched. And I get a different vibe from your channel. So, you know, all the luck there. I like to end it with this question. If you're comfortable sharing, go for it. If not, totally okay. We've had both answers, but what's your revenue goal by the end of 2023? You know, when December 31st hits, what do you want to see in terms of revenue generated from everything you're doing?
Yeah, so my agency right now does anywhere between like 30 and 60,000 a month, just depending on, like, you know, clients that leave, clients that come in, clients that pause payments. And I have zero desire to scale that thing any further. Maybe I'll change my mind on that, but like right now I have zero desire to make my agency any larger than it is. I think it probably will get a little bit bigger just because I'm doing rev shares with clients right now. And some of those clients are probably going to scale to 200 or 300K a month, and I have 10% of that. So it could grow a little bit. But my main focus is going to be coaching people and showing other people how to do what I did. And so with the coaching program, you know, my revenue goal is probably anywhere between 200 and 400K a month with that by the end of the year. I think we could probably do a little bit more than that, but I think 200 to 400K by the end of the year is probably a good goal for the coaching program. So you add that, the agency together, or you add YouTube AdSense, I don't know, a few $1,000,000 this year would be the goal. I think my goal for 2023, when I think I made my goals like 3 or 4 months ago, was $1 million profit. So if I could do $1 million profit this year, that'd be sick. The goal is more, but $1 million profit, I think I'd be happy with that. So
yeah, definitely. 20 years old, making $1 million. That's pretty cool, man. And you know, I think I speak for everybody that when I say that, you know, we're wishing you the best of luck. And I think that with the systems that you have in place and everything that you're providing, I don't see any reason why that wouldn't happen. So Grayson, thanks so much for being on, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. And yeah, look forward to watching you grow and you hopefully hitting that 100K subscriber goal. But, you know, if you're not following Grayson on socials, link down below. Grayson, it's been awesome to have you, man.
Thanks, Will. I appreciate it, man. You're an awesome dude.